Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be talking about how to get that rockabilly guitar tone from the 50s. And I'm very excited to make this video because I love playing rockabilly, I love listening to 50s music in general, and definitely rockabilly I think stood the test of time for decades now, and it still sounds absolutely incredible. So let's get started with talking first about the guitars, then we'll talk about the amplifiers, then we'll talk about the effects. Now first of all, when it comes to the guitars, don't pay too much attention, any guitar will do, but if you had the choice between high or low output pickups, the lower the better, because guitars in the 50s generally had low output pickups. It was basically just single coil pickups and the PAFs, which are low in output, and of course we can't forget the Filtertron, which typically were also low in output. Now let's go into the amps. Definitely, I have used the Fender Bassman, the 59 reissue. You can't make a video about rockabilly and have that amp and choose a different amp to play. It was a very easy choice for this specific video. But it's not really a requirement to have a 50s reissue tweed Fender amp. Definitely that's like the ideal, choice if possible, but if you don't have that, any clean amp would do. So similar to many other genres like surf rock and other genres that started in the 50s, 60s, the word clean is used to describe the tone, but to be honest, it's never that clean. There's always some overdrive because they were using tube amps and trying to push them to get like a louder tone for the recording. So they were breaking up. My advice to get the best rockabilly tone is use just a little bit of an overdrive, whether it's coming from a pedal or the amp itself, it's all fine. Now let's get into the most exciting part of this video, which is the slapback delay. If you get that part right, that's like 90% of the tone. The slapback delay is the delay you're hearing right now. Like, it's very fast, it's very present, like you can hear it, so when I play like some rhythmic stuff, like it's adding to the rhythm, it's doing something, if I turn off the delay and I play the same riff, it's not gonna sound the same. The key to getting that slapback delay is use any type of delay. Okay, let's make it simple. But if you really had the choice, obviously the tape delay, analog, or if you have analog tape delay, I don't know why you're watching this video, go play it. Don't waste your time on YouTube. Right now I'm using the DD200, the tape delay. I've already done like a preset and it has so many knobs and so many controls. You don't need that. But the type of delay I would go with tape. If you don't have tape, go with analog. If you don't have analog and for some reason you only have DD3 by Boss, that's one example of pure standard digital delay. That's also fine. The key is how to set it up. You want the delay trail to be present, almost the same volume. So how to make that? You adjust the mix to be at the same level. Now when it comes to the repetitions, just one is fine, and it has to be very fast. Like, as I said, it has to be very rhythmic. Like just going right back at you. And this is hence why they call it slap back, so slapback is not a specific like millisecond that is agreed upon. I think I have heard so many slapbacks depending on the guitarist, depending on the situation, just depending on the style or the tempo. The next thing I want to talk about is the reverb. But before I go there, I want to just get something over and just talk about it for once and for all. Tremolo and rockabilly sound absolutely amazing. However, tremolo was not available in amps like the way they were in the 60s. It's a very rare occasions where tremolo existed in the 50s in the amp. It was mostly a stereo effect, or they had I forgot the name of it. There was like a tremolo unit, but I'm not sure if it was used for rockabilly. But for 50s music in general, you hear tremolo a lot, and I think it was overshadowed by the delay. Delay and tremolo could fight in the space of effect, so you can use it. In conclusion, you can use tremolo if you want, but if you don't want, it's really just a very small recommendation, optional. I love tremolo a lot, so I use it a lot, but for this video I'm not using any tremolo because the Bassman does not have tremolo, and at the time I don't have a tremolo effect in my pedal board. Now when it comes to reverb, when you ask most rockabilly guitarists what kind of reverb do you use, they will all say spring reverb. No, not correct. That's the wrong answer. Why? Because Well, spring reverb definitely existed in the 50s. It was more of a studio effect that was kind of new at the time. It was used, but very slightly. However, there is another type of delay. I'm talking about the plate reverb, which, by the way, I'm using right now. But I'll explain the signal chain because I'm doing something a little bit different for the signal chain than your typical authentic rockabilly signal chain, but I'll explain it in the end of the video. Here's the thing. Plate reverb was the main reverb in the 50s music and of course in rockabilly. However, it was not very present all the time. I always felt like it was just adding that atmospheric feel. So when it comes to plate reverb, I think it's not a very essential part of the sound. As I said, the delay is the most important part of the sound. I want to mention something else, that I actually am also using the spring reverb. You can use spring reverb because so many rockabilly acts and songs and were recorded in the 60s and the 70s, and definitely you can hear lots of spring reverb in those. But if you want that very authentic 50s tone, having a little bit of spring reverb and a little bit of plate or just plate is what I usually go for. So I actually have both of them turned on, but very subtly. So it's not like like just too much reverb where it's overtaking the delay or overtaking the tone, you know? Now let's talk about the signal chain, because this is something I avoided to talk about for a bit because I'm doing something a little bit of a unique thing. First of all, I'm going from my Yamaha to my pedal board, going through different pedals that are all turned off. So just for full transparency, some of them are buffered, not all of them are true bypass, so probably there is some effect to the tone, who cares. But now here's the thing, I'm using all the pedals and all the effects in front of the amp except one thing, which is the plate reverb. Because it's a studio effect, I have decided to put it in the FX loop of the Freyette power station, which is the attenuator. Long story short, you can put the plate reverb in your typical FX loop if you have it, but because the Bassman does not have an FX loop, and I don't generally like FX loops in amps, except if I'm using them for noise cancellation. That's a whole thing for metal videos and stuff that I'll talk about definitely. But my opinion is to get closer to what the studio sounds like in the room, I'm using the plate reverb in the FX loop, or as far as possible in the signal chain, which is the FX loop of the Freyette power station, the attenuator. So it's kind of coming right before the speakers if you think about it that way. So in conclusion, I think rockabilly music is amazing and really easy to obtain. If you get the delay right, if you play it right, that's it. So many things are with the hands. It's not about the effects. Please let me know what you think about this video. Like, comment, share, all these awesome things. But the awesomest thing is please share this video on the gear page.